The Hufflepuff house is, without a doubt, the last one you would imagine being the origin of an evil wizard. However, based on some information we found in Hogwarts Legacy, we've learned about the dark and tragic history of a wizard from this house who caused the deaths of thousands. So, without further ado, let's explore this macabre and insane story about how prejudice can shape someone's destiny. Unveiling Blackwood was born in Scotland, the son of Muggle parents, at some point in the 15th century. From a young age, he felt different from others. To try to fit in, he decided to follow his family's profession, which involved trimming hedges. But soon, Unveiling realized he had a very rare ability: the capacity to control blackthorn bushes with his mind. This discovery would change his life forever. Unveiling used this inexplicable talent to create beautiful, detailed vegetation. However, if he had any hope of being more accepted by his family, these expectations were quickly dashed. Instead of embracing his unique abilities, his family was not the kind that accepted difference. On the contrary, the more he displayed his talent, the more frustration and contempt they felt toward him. When the time came, Blackwood received his Hogwarts letter, and a ministry wizard came to his house to explain to his family about the magical world. But this visit only increased the disdain his relatives felt for him. Nevertheless, Unveiling decided to go to Hogwarts. Upon arriving, he was sorted into Hufflepuff, a house renowned for its hard work, loyalty, and acceptance. At school, he had the chance to meet a witch from one of the most well-known pure-blood families in the wizarding world, Artemisia Black. This friendship would be a significant point in Unveiling's life, but would also bring unexpected challenges. However, Artemisia Black was not truly a pure-blood. Her origin was the result of a casual affair between her mother, who was a witch carrying the name of the famous Black family, and a Muggle father. Even centuries before Phineas Nigellus Black, the family had a rigid stance on blood purity. As a consequence, Artemisia was excluded from the Black clan. Despite this, she did not blame her mother. Artemisia believed she was worthy of the Black family name, even being a half-blood. In fact, her frustration was directed towards her Muggle father, whom she saw as responsible for her exclusion. In Unveiling Blackwood, Artemisia found an unexpected ally. At Hogwarts, the two bonded over their shared frustrations regarding their Muggle ancestries. Although Unveiling had both Muggle parents, Artemisia still saw him as an innocent victim of the impurity that, according to her family's standards, he represented. This connection strengthened them, creating a bond that would help them face the challenges ahead. The similarity in the stories of Unveiling and Artemisia brought them closer and closer, fueling their hatred for Muggles and plunging them into growing insanity. After leaving Hogwarts, they decided to marry. Rejected by their families, they chose to take on a new name, Unveiling and Artemisia Blackwood. Curiously, they invited both their magical and non-magical relatives to the ceremony. Blackwood's family probably believed Artemisia was a woman of great fortune, unaware of the horrific history behind her lineage. However, the Blackwood union did not signify great wealth for Unveiling, as the fortune they thought Artemisia possessed was nothing more than a single medallion. This medallion, enchanted with the Gemino curse, was a distorted version of the duplication spell, capable of creating exact replicas of an object. But these copies had no value whatsoever. Thus, what seemed like a tale of love and wealth actually hid a dark future full of disillusionment. For years, wizards debated whether copies of an item should have the same value as the original. Over time, they realized that these duplicates wore out very quickly. So quickly, the replicas created by the spell or curse were seen as having little or no value. The Gemino curse was an effect that triggered a duplication spell as soon as an object was touched by anyone other than the caster. Only the original caster had the power to stop the duplication, and for this reason, this curse was often used as a security measure. Unveiling's Muggle parents would be completely unaware of this curse and its duplication effects. Driven purely by greed, they decided to attend the wedding without knowing the true intentions behind the union. It's at this point that the story of the Blackwoods takes a dark turn. To celebrate his marriage to Artemisia, Yunan created his most elaborate labyrinth yet, claiming he was inspired by the Greek wizard Daedalus. It's worth remembering that Daedalus was very talented with plants and herbology, capable of controlling them with his mind. This labyrinth was not just a work of art, it also reflected Yunan's growing obsession with power and control, setting the stage for the dark events that would follow. The Blackwoods invited their guests to explore the labyrinth, luring them with the promise of valuable riches hidden within. However, as the story reveals, the witches and wizards present began to realize something was wrong. Some decided to stay back and refuse to enter the labyrinth, while others, including many Muggles, were not so fortunate. Those who ventured inside were never seen again. Unfortunately, even Muggle members of the Blackwood family lost their lives that day. The details of their deaths remain shrouded in mystery to this day. It's possible that the labyrinth was so intricately designed that the Muggles got lost and couldn't find their way out. Or perhaps Yunan Blackwood's peculiar ability to manipulate blackthorn bushes violently trapped the wedding guests, turning the labyrinth not just into an attraction, but a deadly trap. This tragedy would mark the beginning of a series of dark events in the Blackwoods' history, forever changing the course of their lives. In any case, this dark day was just the beginning of a reign of terror provoked by Blackwood and his labyrinths. The elaborate labyrinth he designed for the wedding remained in place for many years. It's said that hundreds of Scottish Muggles were drawn by the promise of gold and riches. However, like the guests at Blackwood's wedding, none of them ever returned. Hogwarts' legacy, set in the late 1800s, raises the question of how Blackwood, from the 15th century, could have left these labyrinths all those years later. This question is answered in a final note that reveals an even more sinister twist in the horticultural history of the Blackwood Labyrinth. The legacy of Yunan Blackwood and his plant-manipulating ability not only endured, but became an ongoing element of terror in the magical landscape, keeping the mystery and fear alive for those daring to approach. This connection between past and present highlights the idea that some creations, especially the dark ones, can have a lasting impact that echoes through generations. There are two remaining locations where Blackwood labyrinths appear in Hogwarts Legacy, one near the coast of Poi, and another further south in Craigcroft Shire. In the years following the wedding, Yunan and Artemisia stayed together, united in their darkness. Throughout this time, the Blackwood Labyrinth remained, attracting greedy Muggles seeking wealth but finding death instead. Eventually, the Blackwood couple had a daughter, whom they named Lysandra. However, as she grew up, her parents began to worry, and in a cruel but perhaps fitting twist of fate, their worst fears were soon confirmed. Lysandra possessed no magical ability or talent. Over time, the Blackwoods realized their daughter was born as a magical squib, which meant she was not a witch. This revelation was devastating for the couple who, in their quest for power and purity, had drifted from everything they once considered important. Lysandra's inability to perform magic filled them with frustration and despair, leading to a new cycle of darkness in their lives, now marked by a profound family dilemma. Yunan had been rejected by his family for his magical ability, while Artemisia was never accepted by the Black family due to her Muggle origin. Now, Lysandra, being a squib without magical skills, also found herself ostracized and unaccepted by the Blackwoods. The tension and frustration between Lysandra and her parents only grew until it culminated when she turned 16. In an especially ugly fight with her mother, their relationship reached a breaking point. Feeling completely alone and unsupported, Lysandra decided to run away from home and join a group of Muggle witch hunters. Any love or affection she might have felt for her mother had long since vanished. Blinded by anger and the pain of rejection, Lysandra led the witch hunters straight to her mother, betraying the trust that still lingered in her family. This choice not only sealed her fate, but also marked the beginning of a new chapter in the tragic history of the Blackwoods, where the consequences of their actions would spread in unexpected and devastating ways. One spring morning, Muggle witch hunters appeared at the Blackwoods' house. By nightfall, Artemisia Blackwood was burned at the stake. The reason why Lysandra decided to betray only her mother and why Yunnan did not stop the Muggle witch hunters remains a mystery. What we know is that after Artemisia's death, both Yunnan and Lysandra disappeared forever. The malevolent labyrinth that had claimed the lives of so many Muggles vanished shortly after the two vanished. However, this was not the last time witches or Muggles saw a Blackwood labyrinth. They continued to appear, now in random locations, emerging briefly and disappearing just as quickly as they had come. These labyrinths still retained their treacherous nature, trapping both unsuspecting Muggles and wizards who dared to approach. Thus, the legacy of Yunnan and Artemisia Blackwood did not fade. It became a dark legend, a warning about the dangers lurking in the shadows of the magical world and the eternal struggle between acceptance and rejection. The Blackwood story echoed through time, leaving a trail of mystery and terror that still resonates among those who know the legend. In the years that followed, the wizarding community endeavored to understand the Blackwood labyrinths that continued to appear hundreds of years after Yunnan's disappearance. Researchers concluded that these wild and untamed labyrinths were somehow still connected to the dark will of their former master, the malevolent Hufflepuff Yunnan Blackwood. This connection raises the question, where did Yunnan go? Did he continue creating labyrinths, delving deeper into darkness, or did he choose to flee and live a normal life, repenting for all he had done? Perhaps we will never know the truth, nor what happened to his daughter Lysandra. The mystery surrounding the Blackwoods' history remains unanswered, leaving room for speculation and legends that fuel both fear and curiosity in the magical community. The legacy of Yunnan Blackwood and his malevolent labyrinth has echoed through time, a grim reminder of the dangers that can arise when the desire for power and control transcends the boundaries of morality. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Remember, I bring daily content related to the Harry Potter universe, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any updates. Until next time.